Have you ever embarked on a journey but didn't actually first know where you started? What if you actually did leave on a journey and were some days into the journey but didn't know where you had started? Could you measure how far you had gone or where you had arrived or even know how to get back to where you began? I think it's significant that in every generation of God's people, He asks them to build a temple, and that becomes the center point of their lives. You might consider for a moment that when the Salt Lake City temple was built, that became the center point for orienting the rest of the city. In fact, today, the streets in Salt Lake City are ordered and numbered based on their distance from the Salt Lake City temple. It's a visual and a geographical reminder that our focus should be centered on the place that invites us to be connected fully with God. Now, God wants us to define our lives centered on Him. And if we are not centered on Him, what are we centered on? Can we truly define ourselves and experience full truth if we are not grounded in a center spot? If we simply are flailing about without any way to anchor ourselves, without ever knowing how far we have gone from the center spot. So I find it beautiful if we look at Doctrine and Covenants, section 94, verse 1. God encourages us to build our lives centered on building His house. A commandment I give unto you, that ye shall commence a work of laying out and preparing a beginning and foundation of the city of the stake of Zion, here in the land of Kirtland, beginning at my house. So in our own lives, we might ask ourselves, am I centered in God? Am I grounded in God? And so as I build my life, is God at the center? And if I find myself wandering, can I find my way back because I've centered in God? Or am I lost because I never planted a stake in what matters? So that if I do happen to stray off a bit, I can find my way back. So if we are centered in God, we will be secure. Now, I might add, in the context of temples, that temples often are built on the foundations of circles and squares, which circles and squares are often used in measuring and map making and in geographical measurements. And we see that symbol represented in many of our temples. I might give the example of the Provo Temple, where it is shaped on the eternal round of a circle. Other temples are based on the beautiful symbol of a square. God wants us to measure our lives based on the center spot of Him, and temples are a symbol of His presence. And my invitation is that we let temples be a symbol of our groundedness in living the gospel of Jesus Christ.